Jack of all trades, master of none sometimes. That's how it feels. So it's all good. Just save that spot for me. Good. How are you?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and here we are. It's time to begin our Thursday afternoon meeting of the Rotary Club of Tyler. And I don't know about you guys, but I am tickled pink to be here. Yes, sir. Everybody happy? Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Okay, well, listen, folks, no cell phones. Please turn it to vibrate or turn it off or whatever. And who's doing the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance today? Any volunteers? Why, yes, there's David Jones. Thank you for volunteering, David. You're such a team player, you know that? There you go, David.
Thank you, President Bill. Let's stand, please. Face the flag for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming through cross stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight? For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the mufflers sing in air, gave our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let's remain standing, please, for the invocation.
Who has the invocation?
And the introductions.
Looks like Robert Finney does.
And he's not here.
David?
Okay,
Well, you make it just so easy standing.
okay, let's pray. Thank you for the blessing of the day and the joy of just being a part of this glorious day. We pray that our time together will be fruitful. We pray that our mission will be accomplished and that people in our community will know that Rotary stands for serving and making our life here a better place. Bless the remainder of our time and the food that we've enjoyed, and help us to accomplish in our own responsibilities today something that is worthwhile, meaningful, and is helping someone else. In the blessed name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Be seated, please. All right, we would like to welcome our Rotary guests today. So do we have any Rotary guests over on my, what is his hand? My right? Over here on my right. Do we have any Rotary guests? Okay. Here in the middle, any Rotary guests? Yes, ma'am. All right, welcome. Very nice. Any Rotary guests over? Yes, sir.
My oldest friend in the world, known my entire life, lived across the street from me, Ralph Stentz, grew up here, he's living in Billings, Montana now, he's here with us today.
All right. Thank you for coming. Yes, sir.
I brought another guy he's come here from California. You know, they moved here from California. What made me proud to bring him was when I didn't ask him how old he was, because I really wouldn't know his age yet. But he was getting up East 29 when they dropped his mom over there.
Hey, here. Whoa, whoa. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. You two guys will have to get together and figure out who came the longest to get the award for the longest travel today. Come to our meeting. Yes, sir.
Get a picture of him in front of the club banner before he leaves.
Yes, sir. David, we'd like to get a picture of our guests before we leave in front of our banner, if we may. Okay? No, at the close. Let's do it at the close, okay? So we can move on. Any other guests? Yes, ma'am.
I brought Keegan Smith. He is working for me at Champions for Children this semester as a finishes at the UC Tyler. And so we wanted to, we finally been able to come together. So.
All right. Welcome. Glad to have you with us today. Any others? Well, thank you for coming. Don't come back from Montana anytime, California anytime. Thank you. So appreciate you being with us today. Mr. President.
Thank you, David, for just stepping up like that and helping us out. And contrary to some other Rotary clubs, we don't have a limit on the amount of time that you can visit. You can come visit anytime you want. We don't put a cap on it. So if you like what you're seeing here today, just feel free to come back. I want to thank our pianist today, Vicki Conway. As always, Vicki, another excellent job. And I want to mention some Rotary birthdays today. Get my peepers out. Let me go over here and pick them up. Thank you, Kathy. Everything's a two-step process for me. You find your glasses, then you do what you need to do. Okay, Rotary birthdays, November 1st. Way. November 7th, Bob. November 14th, Bill Kroon. November 27th, Lisa Holt Norton. November 28th, George Roberts Jr. And now I'd like to ask all of you folks in joining me in a spirited singing of Happy Birthday to all of our Rotary. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. Cha, cha, cha. Now everybody takes a sigh of relief because we don't have to listen to Bill sing anymore in this meeting. Rotary anniversaries, November 11th, Gates Brailsford, 11 years. John Payne, 45 years. Yes, sir. Mike Kavanaugh, 2 years. April Chenault, 2 years. Leland Ferguson, 20 years. And Angela Fennell, 3 years. And also want to thank our greeter for the day, Annie Dwyer. And is Austin here today?
Yeah, we're running late.
Okay, running like big hand for Annie, please. And now, it's time for our own Paul Glasser and This Week in History.
Thank you, Bill. On the 4th of November, 1922, that would be 99 years ago today, British archaeologist Howard Carter, working in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, unearthed steps leading to the tomb of Egyptian pharaoh King Tutankhamun. Tut was a very minor figure who ascended the throne at the age of 8, only to die 9 years later. He accomplished essentially nothing. But unlike nearly every royal tomb in Egypt, Tut's hastily arranged tomb had not been looted in the 3,000 years since he was laid to rest, and it put him on the map. On the 5th of November, 1941, big day, orders were issued by the Imperial General Headquarters to the Imperial Japanese Navy, led inevitably to what this man did, and then to all relevant fleet commanders to undertake the bombing of the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor. That order would be carried out 32 days later on December 7th, 1941. On the 6th of November, 1869, Rutgers defeated Princeton 6-4 in the first ever college football game. Played with a soccer ball, the game more closely resembled rugby than what we now call football, but nonetheless, they still call it the birth of college football. The two teams played 71 times between 1869 and 1980. When Princeton dropped out of NCAA Division I, Princeton leads the series 53-17 with one tie. On the 7th of November, 1916, Jeanette Rankin of Montana became the first woman to be elected to the U.S. Congress. Her first vote as a member of Congress was to vote against U.S. entry into World War I. That vote would cost her re-election in 1918. But she ran again in 1940 and then cast the only nay vote for a declaration of war against Germany and Japan following the bombing of Pearl Harbor. That vote again cost her re-election. Montana has not sent a woman to Congress since. On the 8th of November, 1895, German physicist William Röntgen, working in his lab in Würzburg, Germany, observed that a chemically coated screen glowed in the presence of a cathode ray tube he was testing. He dubbed the rays causing that glow X-rays. On the 9th of November, 1989, another big day, East German officials abruptly, and with no warning and no notice, opened the checkpoints between East and West Berlin, leading to the destruction of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany, and marking effectively the end of the Cold War. And on the 10th of November, 1951, the first long-distance call without operator assistance was made between Englewood, New Jersey and Boston, Massachusetts, marketed by the Bell Telephone Company as direct distance dialing. It required area codes, which the Bell system had begun assigning in 1947. Texas had 4 such area codes. They were 214, centered around Dallas, 713, centered around Houston, 512, centered around San Antonio, and 915 out there in El Paso. Direct distance dialing did not make it to Texas until 1963. Birthdays in the coming week, starting today. Longview's own Matthew McConaughey turns 51 today. Rock and roller Bryan Adams turns 62 on Friday. Sally Field turns 75 on Saturday. Joni Mitchell, the folk singer, turns 78 on Sunday. And another East Texan, Miranda Lambert, also of Longview, turns 38 on Monday, and that's this week in history.
Paul,
Yo,
you missed one.
what did I miss?
Here, hold the mic.
On this very day in 1841, Abraham Lincoln proposed to Mary Ann Todd.
How did I miss that?
They were married that afternoon.
Wow.
Okay.
And it was apparently a very busy day because almost to the day, 9 months later, their first child.
Oh.
You gotta love the guy, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Paul, thank you very much. As always, very enjoyable, very informative. Now, does anybody know what time it is?
Chicago, right?
No. What time is it? It's trivia time. Yes, it is. Trivia time. Let me get out the first envelope here, my friends. All right, envelope number one is good for a $20 gift certificate for the catch. Thank you to Lisa Norton, who's not here today. Oh, you are here today. Best catfish in town. My
Yes.
grandsons just tear that stuff up when
Amen.
we come over. Now, here's the question. July the 21st, 1969, a very important transportational device was disposed of and never heard from again. Never seen or heard from again. You're exempt, Paul. Okay?
I know.
What was the name of this device?
If nobody gets it, can I?
David?
The Concord.
No, it's not the Concorde.
Electric car.
No, it's not the electric car.
Segway?
Oh, wait a minute. Whose hand up was first? Bill, you're back there waving.
And does it have to do with the moon landing?
What's the one word? Okay,
Eagle, Paul. The Eagle.
you win. Lucky winner. Come on up here.
Called the lunar module.
The lunar module, but the name was Eagle. Neil Armstrong, when they landed on the moon, he said, well, I didn't hear it. If I don't hear it, it doesn't count. Wait a minute, John. Wait a minute. $30 bonus question. It goes to you first. And then if you don't get it, then we pitch it out there to everybody. What were the name of the three men that crewed Apollo 11?
Neil Armstrong was one.
Yes.
Was it Buzz Aldrin?
You tell me, was it?
Okay, I'm gonna go guys.
No. Everybody is.
I can't get them all.
Okay. Goes to Bill Crew.
Michael Conrad and Buzz Aldrin.
Incorrect.
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 They crewed Apollo 11?
Who crewed Apollo 11? Whose hand was up first?
That was my guess.
Well, Neil Armstrong.
Well, we already got Neil Armstrong. Yes. Stand on up. Who? Michael Collins and who else?
Buzz Aldrin.
And who was the commission commander?
Neil Armstrong.
Okay. You know what state he was from? You're getting the $30. I just want to know if you know what state he was from. He was from Ohio. Come on up here and get your $30 gift certificate. Again, thank you, Lisa, for your generosity. And I hope you guys enjoyed me toying with you. It was so much fun. Well, you're more than welcome. You got to get it right. It's not Mike Conrad. You had it confused with Pete Conrad. I know all of this information, which makes me realize I really need to get out of the house a little bit more. Okay. So let me see here. Okay, back to business. Back to business. Okay. Had our fun. It's time to get serious. Projects to be funded. Guatemala Hospital Project. DM, you want to come up, take a minute?
Before we talk about the two projects, you may have seen on the news, Miss America from Tyler, Joe Carroll Dennison, passed away at age 97 this week. The two projects that we're working on at the club, and we invite you each to make your individual contribution between now and the end of December. Right here in Tyler, we're doing a new kitchen for Camp B, and we received a grant on that. Need about $4,800 to finish that out. So any of you that would like to chip in on that project, Camp B is going to be a tremendous facility here in Tyler for veterans. And down in Guatemala, they have a maternity ward for expectant mothers, and this is the maternity ward that the mothers with birth complications in northern Guatemala come to. Part of the plumbing is broken, and they have no air conditioning, and in the summertime in Guatemala, the temperature in the maternity ward can reach as high as 111 degrees. And we've already received a district grant to help with that. We'd like about $5,000 there. So if you'd like to give to either project or to both of them, just give Holly Lewis your check in the next 60 days or so, and we'll give you an update when we meet after Thanksgiving as to how close we are on both projects.
Okay, let me ask you something. You have any idea who next week's speaker is going to be?
Yes, it's going to be the next 25 presidents of the Rotary Club of Tyler, which will pick up from 1945 through 1970. It's a PowerPoint presentation, and I want you to look and see how many of these next 25 presidents were a member of the friendly class at Marvin Baptist Church.
All right. Thanks to him. I thought I'd just stick that on you while you're up here. So we got that taken care of. Knocked out several birds with one stone. Okay, Rotary Club of Tyler's Christmas Parade, volunteers needed. There's been a sign-up sheet that's been going around. If you have any questions, give Dixie a call. We've got our gathering tonight, bourbon and barbecue at Jack and Janelle's house. It's going to be a real good time, so don't miss it. And need your volunteer hours, please email them to Holly. And now, where is Susan Campbell? Susan, come on up. Susan wants to take a minute. No, you got to do it up here. Yes.
All right.
We still have,
Very loud.
we still have no cases of trench foot reported from July the 4th.
I was worried.
Yeah.
That all of you are invited to ceremony at Camp B next Thursday, which is Veterans Day. And we have a very special ceremony that is commemorating the 100th year anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We have a Never Forget garden. It's one of, I don't know, maybe 100 across the nation. This is a national celebration. We are grateful to have it at Camp B. It starts at 10:30 with a program. We'll have a 21-gun salute, and then taps will be played. So please come. Woo!
Thank you, Susan. I'll be there. I will be there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again to welcome our president-elect, Allison Camry, to introduce this week's speaker. Allison, here you go.
Thank you, Bill. Our speaker for this morning is Robin Hood Bryans, and I'm going to try to remember from my brain what all they told me. I don't have a bio on him. He's been very active in a lot of political activities here in the Tyler area. At his studio, he has worked with, and he'll talk more about this, both ZZ Top and the Five Americans. That's just amongst other groups. I know he sings in the choir at the Christ Episcopal Church, and he's a very memorable musician and speaker. I know you're going to enjoy him. Robin Hood Bryans, you're on. Plus, I'm going to extend you that I haven't done to other speakers. Today, as long as you want, the people out here are going to leave at 1 o'clock.
There you go.
Actually, he's talked to
Well, I would first of all like to thank everyone for the opportunity to be here with you. I have a lot of respect for optimists, and it's a great pleasure to be with you. And what? Well, I'm sorry, this is the Rotary Club. I really enjoyed being here with you, especially to get to see all my other friends from Longview who are here. What's that? Tyler? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Tyler, that's right. Well, I got a little confused on that. But anyway, this is a beautiful Friday and it's gonna be a great weekend, so let's get it. Pardon? Thursday? Well, I've been watching a lot of television and some of my friends tell me that I'm qualified to run for president. Well, we're having too much fun, aren't we? I'll tell you what, I told my wife I've been invited to speak again at the Rotary Club. And she looked at me and she said, well, what did they ask you to talk about? And I said, well, honey, they said I could talk about anything I wanted to. And she said, those people are crazy. They don't know you. And I said, no, I'm gonna put on clean underwear and wear my new shoes and everything's gonna be fine. Now my wife, the first thing, she said, what are you gonna talk about? And I said, well, there are a lot of things that are fun to talk about, but I might want to talk about something that I think has never happened in the history of the world. She said, what? I said, no. And during this withdrawal from Afghanistan, I think this is the first time in the history of the world that both the United States military and the Taliban were commanded by the same commander-in-chief, Barack Obama. And she said, no, I don't think you shouldn't talk about that. Maybe you ought to talk about music or something. Now, my wife and I are big into education. We take every opportunity to push music education. Our daughter's an orchestra director up in Denton. My wife taught first grade when I met her. She taught 35 years out at UT. Music education in kids, we need to keep it strong in our schools because it develops really the ability to think for yourself and to figure things out. And besides, if you get the kids a good teacher, and they'll do a lot of practicing, it keeps little boogers out of trouble. It's another thing that you might enjoy about it. Now, my wife and I are also big supporters of higher education. Between the two of us, we have 4 master's degrees. Well, Suzanne has 4. But I thought it would be a little too much for me to push that far. The studio has been an incredible thing. I was writing a book. I was going to call it 2200 Sunnybrook because that was the address. But after all that's gone on, I realized that studio was finished in 1963 in July. 4 months later, my father died. I was 23 years old. I knew I needed some mentors. Dr. Earl Claywater, Paul Grubb, and Ralph Spence were the 3 guys I chose for my mentors to get their advice on how to do things and what not to do most of the time. ZZ Top is in everybody's mind now. They're coming here to the town soon. And I have been very confused. I haven't talked to Billy at length yet, but I'm planning to call him probably. I can check their tour when he's got a day off. But when Dusty turned to him and said, I want the tech to fill in for me, Elwood, he thought it was going to be for a week. He didn't know he was going to go home and die. So it's been sort of interesting, wondering how long they're going to continue this way. Are they going to audition somebody who can sing the way Dusty could? I don't know the answer to that. That's one of the things we've been worried about. I am probably one of the most fortunate people in the world to have been raised in Tyler. We, along with a lot of people in the South, get a bum rap from a lot of people. I'd like to just remind some of you who were not here when these things happen. I'd like to remind you some things about Tyler that make me extremely proud to have been here. The first college in Tyler was Texas College, established in 1894. It was one of the first black colleges in the entire country where black people could get a degree and go out and pursue a a profession instead of doing hard labor. Butler College was established in 1905. Wiley College down the road was 1873. Jarvis College, just up north of us, 1912. And Tyler had the first black barber college. It was called the Tyler Barber College. And instead of shining shoes in the white man's barbershop, they could get their certificate as barbers and go out and own their own barbershop. And those are just some things that I think have made Tyler a wonderful place to grow up. Another thing, of course, is our medical community. This doctor can tell you how good it is. I'll tell you later on about my COVID experience, which enlightened me a lot about the medical community here in Tyler. But Mother Frances Hospital had to open early because of a terrible explosion in New London. In fact, that explosion triggered a law being passed that they had to put something in natural gas to make it smell, because it was an odorless, tasteless, clear substance, and it went into the school, nobody knew it, and many, many people died. So that hospital is still something that, always had great doctors, but the nuns ran that hospital. They had a lot of fantastic suites. They put in really good surgical suites before most people in this East Texas area, but the nuns ran the hospital. Great hospital. And then there's ETMC, which is now UT Health. And Doctor, how many specialists do we have in Tyler?
A bunch.
1,000?
Probably 800.
800 specialists here in Tyler. So one of the reasons people like to move here is because of our medical community. It's fantastic. And another thing that I think is unique about Tyler, we've got so many television stations and radio stations, but of all the stuff, we have Hispanic stations that most of us don't know about, that they have tremendous audiences throughout East Texas. Television stations that transmit totally in Spanish. But the thing that makes Tyler great for me is something that not many cities our size in America have. That's KTVB.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. The thing about Paul is I love the way he does his own commercials. And one of the classiest ones he does is, I have my name plaque and my own stool out of the bar at Keepersall. And if you come in there and I'm not there, feel free to sit down and enjoy yourself. Well, I was coming back from the whiskey store the other day, and it wasn't too far to go by Keepersall. Well, it's 25 miles, but anyway, I thought so I went out there and I walked in and I looked, and that stool was empty, and there was that name tag, Paul Gleiser. And I thought, now's my chance. Now you gotta understand something. This is not an ordinary man. This man takes people on tours all over Europe, up and down the Danube River. I mean, a lot of you don't know this, but the name Paul Gleiser is a household word all over South Tyler. I promise you that. Anyway, I sat down, and this little girl said, "Hello, Mr. Gleiser. My name is Cindy. I'm new here." And I'm thinking, this is going to be fun. And so she said, "Would you like a wine list?" Well, everybody's asking, what would Jesus do? And I was thinking, what would Paul do? And I said, yes, please. So she brought me a wine list, and I started perusing. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm looking through there, and I saw a bottle of wine that was $465. And I thought, boy, I bet that's some good wine.
I'll take two of them.
You know what? It was. I'm telling you, it was. I sipped it slowly, and oh, it was nectar on the lips. It was wonderful. And I went ahead and had the, don't they do. And it's too bad my wife wasn't with me, because she loves that cream spinach out there, and I ate the whole thing. So I'm finished, and finally the young lady comes and brings the check, said, "Mr. Gleiser, would you sign the check, please?" Now, I told her about how thankful and blessed I am. I'm so thankful that name tag was there because I didn't want to misspell his name when I signed. But I signed for the meeting, you know. I mean, when you're signing for $535, you want to get the name right. So she took the check and she came back in a little while and said, Mr. Kleiser, you've gone over your monthly trade out by $20. You want to put it on next month? And I thought, what kind of friend would do something like that? I said, no, I'll pay the $20. You know, with a guy like this, who's a world traveler and all, I know he's got a reputation, and I respect that. You've got this reputation of a mover and shaker, and I mean, in every business, you've got the people who are the movers and shakers, the people who can get things done. Then you got guys like Paul. Actually, he's the best in America when it comes to getting this done. But anyway, I paid my own bill, and no, the wine was not $465, but it was good. I want to get into something that's a little more serious. I've had some health issues. I'm almost 83, and I feel that I'm blessed after dying on the operating table once, and I was not properly intubated. So at the other hospital, they found out an hour and 20 minutes later that the intubation tube was tangled in my throat. Not only was I not getting the oxygen, I wasn't getting any air for an hour and 20 minutes. So I feel lucky to have my mind in at least the shape it's in, so that I can enjoy seeing you guys here at the Optimist Club. But then I got COVID. I was diagnosed with COVID on 2nd of October last year. And I was a little cavalier about it because 4 members of our choir had gotten it at church and they had what they call light cases. So I assumed I would. I called my doctor. I got to have my meds. Bang, I had my meds. That was a Friday. I took them. I felt so good Saturday and Sunday. I went to the studio and worked. Feeling a little bad. I thought I'm going to stay with my meds. Well, I stayed 2 because the next Sunday night I went to the hospital with double pneumonia. I stayed 2 weeks. So they're fine. They tried to wean me off of oxygen, but they couldn't. So I'm still on 7 liters of oxygen. So they're putting me on the gurney and stacking all my clothes on top of me. And I guess the nurses back on the other side of the room thought at 81 I couldn't hear. Because one of them said, is he still on 7 liters of oxygen? She said, yeah. Well, where are they going to take him? And she said, home. I said, wait, we don't send people home on 7 liters of oxygen. Well, we're sending him. And the nurse said, my God, I hope he makes it. And the other nurse said, I wouldn't count on that. So as they rolled me down, I was determined that I was going to make it anyway. Because I remember laying in that bed and seeing that crucifix on the other side of the wall and praying, thanking God for that hospital being there since the New London explosion and all the people that it had saved and served over the years. So I got home and I got into my therapy, and I missed out on part of my therapy because about halfway through it, I got something called inappropriate sinus tachycardia. Now, sinus tachycardia is normal. You get up and go upstairs, the sinus tachycardia tells your heart we need more oxygen, so it pumps faster. So it's a natural occurrence. I had what was called inappropriate sinus tachycardia. For no reason, my heart rate would just start skyrocketing. So I'm now on a beta blocker, an alpha beta blocker, and all kinds of stuff. But my days are easy. Those are easy, and the nights are getting better. But when they arranged for my last therapy, a guy named Walter came out. He's the guy that checked me out the first day I was home. I told him about what the nurses had said. And he said, you know, Robin, I didn't want to say it. The first day I came out and checked on you. I went back to our meeting at 6 o'clock and I said, we've got one we're probably going to lose. And he was talking about me. Now, When he first went to my house and talked to me, he said, I noticed you're in the music business. Are you a horn player? I said, no. He said, oh. I said, I'm a singer. Oh, really? I said, yeah, I've sung in Christ Church Choir 68 years. It's now 69. He said, well, I'll tell you what. Your therapy is going to be singing for your lungs. So my wife is in there counseling because it's COVID and she can't go to the office, in the living room with her phone and counseling with people because she's a professional counselor. And back in my bedroom, I'm, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, unto us a son is given. People are going, what is that? And she said, that's my husband. He's a singer. He's just singing voice. Well, isn't that a Christmas song? Yeah, but you have to sing it the whole year round. So I've been talking about to all my friends about how lucky I've been to be raised in a town where we started building colleges for black people before we did whites. A town that has a medical community that's better than any town this size you'll probably ever see. For a town that has an educational system, and by the way, where is she? There you are. Oh no, where's she? Where's Pam? Where'd she go? She slipped out. She had a deal to sell a house. The reason your taxes valuations are going up, the reason houses don't stay on the market very long is the new medical school we're getting. Of course, it's going to be fabulous for Tyler. But in all these things that I felt so lucky about, I woke up one morning and realized I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. And I appreciate the opportunity of sharing some time with you guys again, especially having fun with you, Paul. Sorry I didn't have any business to bring you this season, but maybe the big collection, I'll bring you some more business.
All contributions are cheerfully accepted.
There you go. But I renamed my book. I was going to call it 2200 Sunnybrook Drive. Now I've changed the name. I realized that studio that we finished 4 months before my father died was a lifeboat for me and for my mother. Because with that studio, I was able to make a living for us. And I'm not sure where I'd be had we not finished that studio. When I say we, I found a hammer the other day we had used. We did the carpentry, the roofing, the plumbing, the electrical. We poured the foundation. We did everything but lay the halide blocks. So I learned how to do a lot of things that I don't want to do for a living if I can help it. So thank you so much for letting me come and have fun with you today.
You're awesome.
Robert, this is great. Come on over here. Come on over here. I'm a little hurt right now. Compliment him on his commercials. Have you ever heard the commercials? Hi, folks. My name's Bill Pascal. Tired of getting slapped around by your health insurance carrier? You know, I'm hurt.
My one feeling is demolished.
What's that?
I said your one feeling is demolished.
Yes, yes.
She's good.
Yeah, she lives next door to my mother-in-law. That's where she fixed it.
Oh.
Yeah. But Robin, we do this for all of our speakers, and you've been very entertaining, just a delight to have.
Thank you so much.
But this is presented to you on behalf of the club. We're going to give a book or contribution to the Literacy Council in honor and appreciation of what you have done for us today.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You're more than welcome.
Speaking of book, I came in the other day, I told my wife, I said, well, honey, I finally finished my first book. And she said, well, what are you going to do now? Get a publisher? I said, no, I'm going to rest for about a month and then read another one.
Story of my life, pal. Story of my life.
Great job.
Okay. Oh, here's your notes. You still need your notes, Robin?
Well, That's not anything I talked about. What did I?
I don't know either.
I had fun anyway. Thank
But
you.
we all had a good time, so let me see here. I think we got everything covered.
We have one thing, Dixie needs to say something real quick about parade signups for volunteers.
Dixie needs to say something, what?
About parade
No, how's she gonna say?
fairly quickly.
Yeah, let's just be realistic. Okay, Dixie, come on up here. Dixie, we'll time you with the calendar.
I was just asked by the people participating in the, working on the parade right now, to remind everyone to please volunteer, sign up, we need your help. This year, the parade is, the South Tyler Rotary is technically in charge of it, but it's always a group effort. It would never happen without all three of our Rotary clubs. So I know there's a thing being passed around to sign up. Please, please sign up to help. It's pretty simple and it's a lot of fun, so.
Great. Thanks, Dixie.
Thank you, Dixie. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a special word, another, our president-elect, Allison Camry.
Thank you. I know, I'm very aware, I am, so you don't have to try to convince me otherwise. But I was at an event recently where I was with John Hudnall, and he was going on and on about the star of stage and screen and all the things I had done, and it was just getting embarrassing. And a friend of mine came to me and said, "What is it that you have on John Hudnall that he talks so much about you and just sings your praises?" And I said, "Well, really, it's a pretty sad story." I said, a few months ago, John was by himself and nobody was talking to him, and I was to him and not realizing John was hearing what I was saying. And I said, "John, I'll give you $5 if you'll be my friend." And ever since then, he just has been singing my praises. When John heard that, said, "Well, just imagine what you would have gotten for $10.
That's hilarious.
All right, Allison. He said that, he told me that earlier, and I thought, well, we just need to hand that out to everybody. So it's now time for the Ace of Diamonds Award. Half the drawing goes to the club, half amounts, or half benefits the Tyler Rotary Club, half benefits the Rotarian winner. If a Rotary guest wins, they receive 25%, and the Rotarian host receives 25%. JB, how much do we have in the pot today, sir?
$812.
$812. And Robin, we need you to reach in there and pull out a ticket, please, sir.
The last three digits are 141.
141.
Oh.
And we have a winner. All right, head on over there and draw a card.
Come on.
What'd you get, 10 of spades? All right, not even close. Okay, folks, let's all stand and recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, everybody, we'll see you tonight at Jack and Janelle's house, and we are dismissed.